The Senate rules provide that any senator may offer an amendment regardless of party affiliation. Each senator represents hundreds of thousands to, in the case of California, 36 million of Americans, and each has an individual right to offer amendments for consideration. The principle here isn't about political parties having their say, but duly elected senators participating in the legislative process. Again, it's part of our duty to represent the citizens of our respective states. Each senator has an individual right to offer amendments. This right cannot be outsourced to party leaders. The long-standing tradition of the Senate is that members of the minority party, as well as rank-and-file members of the majority party, have an opportunity to offer amendments and get votes in the United States Senate. The now routine practice of filling the tree to block amendments has been a major factor in the destruction of the Senate as a deliberative body. This is usually combined with filing cloture to cut off further consideration of a bill, which has occurred in truly unprecedented extent. In a deliberative body, debates and amendments are essential, so cloture should be rare, and abuse of cloture strikes to the very heart of how the Senate is intended to work. It is important to note that the majority leader has tried to pass off the cloture motions he has filed, which are attempts by the majority party to silence the minority party, as nothing but Republican filibusters. There seems to have been a concerted attempt to confuse cloture motions with filibusters. But the Washington Post fact checker has caught the majority leader in this distortion, given his claim of unprecedented Republican filibusters to Pinocchios.
Republicans do not run the Senate. We don't control the committees. We don't run things here on the floor. And as we're seeing in the current debate over unemployment benefits, we don't even get a chance to offer amendments to many major pieces of legislation. Why is that? Why is it that the greatest deliberative body in the world can no longer offer amendments? It comes down to one thing. The Democrat leadership, they're afraid that we might bring up amendments that are difficult for Democrats to vote on. Well, join the crowd. That's always been the case around here before this current leadership took over. Every leader has tried to protect their side, but this has gone to the point of ridiculousness and the denigration of the Senate itself. The Democrats could have offered an extension of federal unemployment benefits at any time before they expired in 2013. We could have debated the merits of the Emergency Unemployment Compensation Program, discussed alternatives, and perhaps even come up with a bipartisan compromise to help the long-term unemployed. We could even have done that through regular order and using the committee process. But instead, Democrats ignored the program for an entire year. And in the very last days of the last congressional session, and after we had adjourned for the year, we finally started hearing about the desperate need to protect the long-term unemployed, about how it was the highest priority for the president and Democrats in Congress to extend these benefits, and about those villainous Republicans standing in the way. There are really only two conclusions to draw from this. Mr. President, either the Democrats forgot about unemployment benefits until the end of the year, or they calculated it was better suited for their political attack plan to let them expire and then debate an extension afterward. I think it's pretty clear which conclusion is the correct one, especially since they controlled the Senate and they controlled the committees. They could have done just about anything they wanted to.
That's what it's all about, and they don't get it. They say we should be talking about creating jobs. What about creating some food in the bellies of children? What about paying the utility bill or the rent or keeping the lights on or keeping the place that you live warm enough while you're out looking for a job? That is part of the reality facing people across America. 81,867 individuals in my home state of Illinois lost their benefits between Christmas and New Year's.
Long-term unemployment is merely a symptom of the failures of the Obama economy. However, since the Democrats opted to put this matter off until we were actually beyond the last minute, we have not enacted or even really debated any serious alternatives to federal unemployment benefits, and we're left with just another take it or leave it proposition from the majority leader. Mr. President, it's pretty clear what my colleagues in the majority want to do. Contrary to their claims, passing this legislation and extending unemployment benefits, it's not their highest priority. Their highest priority is to use the long-term unemployment as pawns in their political attacks on Republicans who support a different approach, one that's paid for, fairly paid for, honestly paid for, and understandably paid for. If I'm wrong and my colleagues on the other side of the aisle are serious about wanting to extend this program, why would they not allow for votes on Republican amendments or even Democrat amendments? There's some complaints on the Democrat side. Even we, the Democrats, they're saying, don't have the privilege of bringing up amendments. And as we continue on here, the committees are a waste of time under the way the Senate is currently being run, because everything is run right out of the leader's office.